go ahead and get started, folks. And thank you, Julia and Sandor and Jennifer, for joining us on time. I know it's not easy for everybody. It's a whole new world, so we get it. We totally get it. But I wanted to welcome you to today's Media Mentor session. My name's Dolly Wolf, and I'm the founder of ODI. And on behalf of our team, we want to thank you so much for spending some time with us, for supporting us in our programs. And I also wanted to mention that we're actively working on our full day conference, which is going to be virtual again this year. It's November 5th, and we're going to be posting information about the details early September, so that when you come back after Labor Day, we'll hopefully have a real nice lineup for you. And with our theme happens to be bring your whole self to work and everywhere else. So we'll be weaving that theme throughout the day. So be looking for that, and we are excited to create another, hopefully another great day for you. So I also wanted to mention, let me let in Nana. I also wanted to mention that, our mission really is about creating a more diverse and inclusive media industry by providing these kinds of programs to students of every background. We firmly believe that everyone has something special to bring to the table. Everyone is welcome. So if we can catch your attention, we'd love to share the insights with you, and hopefully, open your eyes to some ideas of careers that maybe you hadn't heard about before, or maybe think, I'd like to try that. So we're very, very grateful for support of our academic community and of our media folks that give their time and attention to what we're trying to do. Today's session features a very fabulous person that I just met recently, and to me, he just feels like a friend already. This is Brett McCall, and he is a Fortune 500 creative leader. He wears many creative strategy hats for the following branding companies: IndieWorks, Chameleon Collective, and WorkSong. And per his bio, which you may have had an opportunity to check out, his talent and expertise have been a leading force behind campaigns for many Fortune 500 companies in marketing and advertising, public relations, social media, and entertainment. His foundation in cultural ethnography and entertainment drives a strong relationship between both connecting and entertaining consumers. He's led teams and offices for media conglomerates to boutique agencies, which include Omnicom, Y&R Brands, and Edelman. Through his passionate involvement in marketing, entertainment, and emerging media, Brett has created and produced programming for both startups and established clients, including Microsoft, PepsiCo, and Wrigley. As a founder and partner of IndieWorks, Brett continues to employ a unique marketing perspective to harness the power of data-driven insights, creative intuition, and an entertainment mindset to all the work he delivers for his clients. And for us, he's just a wonderful fit for our Media Mentor series. It's always, always great to bring in new voices and experience to the ODI roster. And I was, again, immediately drawn to his positive energy and in-depth knowledge of the industry. And, Britt reached out to us and said, how can I help? I love to mentor. I love to get in front of students. I like to, help people achieve goals. And so here we are today. So I would like to welcome Brett McCall.
Thank you very much, Dolly. Wow. It's weird hearing about yourself. It's a very, very bizarre, your bio sits there and you just kind of go, okay. And then, every few years you're adding whatever to it and taking something away. And then when you hear it out loud, it's kind of like, oh, who is that person? I don't know that person at all. Holy cow. Well, thank you very much. And thank you to all of you for being here today. I appreciate it. And I'm going to take a little bit of a different tact to this presentation. I've done a lot of different guest speakers, walking into different universities and doing that. But a lot of it is about the tactical side of things. So how does a creative strategy work, or how does a brief, or how working with clients and what does that look like? So today, after talking to Dolly, I think I wanted to kind of talk about a bit of what I see as the process, and hopefully more than anything, I think where we as an industry, advertising, marketing, need to kind of focus more on to kind of create better, not employees, but better people in what they do. And I don't mean that about having them learn a certain skill. It's almost like how we approach our own colleagues, how we approach the industry, how we approach our work. So I know that sounds very ethereal, but it is more about where I see, especially from a creative perspective, hopefully we can kind of open that up and hopefully take a different approach moving forward. And what I am doing right now, especially with my work with IndieWorks and also with the Chameleon Collective, and working with people who also have that same appeal and approach that is much more open and collaborative, and something I feel like will deliver a lot better work and happier clients and all of those kinds of wonderful things that we want. So with that, I am going to share my screen. So I think as part of that bio that Dolly read, interesting enough, my background is in anthropology and film. When I went to school, I had, for some odd reason, I thought I was going to be a psychologist, a psychology major, and nothing to take anything away from that. But I really, once I got about a semester or a half a semester in, I realized, yeah, this is probably not going to be anything. So I was looking for something else, and there was a very good program at the university that I went to in anthropology, both on the cultural side and then also on the archaeology side. And I was like, wow, totally blown away by that. So I kind of went down that path. One of the things that I always knew that I was going to be doing was be a part of the film program. And then I was trying to figure out how I would marry those two things together. Having, even from being a little kid, having the passion around National Geographic and the things that when I was a kid, and I was like, oh, I could be an ethnographer, figuring out that term, which was a video ethnographer, the ability to actually go in, study cultures and kind of record that, get that data, and then be able to create films or TV programs out of it. And I was like, wow, that would be awesome. So I had this plan. And then I was about a month out of school, and I was offered a job with Paramount Television. And I was like, oh, you know what? I can put that other dream on pause because I'm going to have a job with Paramount TV. So a bit of a shift on where I was going, but I would say that my career has done that the whole time, and in almost all cases has been in the positive. So if you can all see this is kind of an evolution of my career. It is not a CV. It is not this is what I did and how I delivered. It really explains an evolution of where I came from on the production side of things. So I was 2 or 3 years in production, both in film and TV. And then from there, I actually was a producer for a very large promoter to do live events. So When you think of things, I'm from Chicago. I'm in Chicago right now. There's a very large space here called Navy Pier. It reopened in '95, and I was a part of the team that brought that to life, the launch of that space. And we were doing live entertainment everywhere from large concerts to jugglers 4 days a week for 16 weeks for that first summer season. And everywhere shows like Stephen Stills and Johnny Cash and Buddy Guy performed at one of the venues that was on the location. So that was my first job with them. And I ended up going on to do tours with Rolling Stones and U2, and got to a place with that company where I was like, wow, I'd done all these things. And so back then, weirdly enough, because I was very naive, I thought like, oh, I'll just go find another job, which I don't think most people take that tact anymore. But at the time, I thought that it was a good idea. But the company didn't want me to go, and they actually offered me a job to run their marketing. And I was like, well, I've never done marketing, but that would sound really interesting. Okay, I'd love to take that on. And I had a small staff, and I did. And I was lucky enough to get my first clients were Miller Brewing Company and Doc Martens, United Airlines, and the first AT&T Wireless. For my friends who were from marketing, were not very happy because a person that went to school for film and anthropology now is taking their dream job. That was always a very painful discussion. But that being said, I did not waste that opportunity. So with that, a lot of this was creating programming. Initially for them, it was really just about handing out tickets. But I sat down with all of these clients and said, what do you want out of these programs? Because you're spending a lot of money besides tickets. What are the things that we can do to kind of add to that? From that experience and kind of being thrown in the deep end in the marketing world, I was approached from another small boutique agency that wanted to get the business with Southern Comfort. And the overarching company is called Brown Forman. And we pitched that business and won that business, which was really cool. So that was the first time for me winning a piece of business that was around what we created. And it was all about live music, which was interesting, a lot of my background. So that just made a lot of sense. And that's how my career kind of ebbed and flowed. So I went from there to bigger agencies and smaller agencies. I think, I was a part of Omnicom. That was one of my first, I guess, large agency jobs. And I worked on Budweiser, and I worked on some work on McDonald's, and did work for Pepsi then, and Doritos, and Whirlpool. Interesting enough, I did a program that was really kind of a really great program that we put together that had Whirlpool, Reba McEntire, and Habitat for Humanity. All of those by themselves go, why, how does that make sense? Well, interesting enough, Reba at the time and her husband had done they'd been a part of building a Habitat home. Whirlpool was giving a lot of their appliances to Habitat for Humanity when they built those homes. And all of us came together. So we created a full campaign around that, which was so much fun. And she is a wonderful human being. And we created both part of her tour and then advertising that ran on TV and radio and all that, all around what she was doing with Habitat. So that was a really cool program, kind of bringing everything that I had done to that point, which I love, that experience and that knowledge kind of helped me bring something like that to life. And then it continued. I went on to different agencies, and I've done work for Xbox, and worked on a thing which we used to call back then, which was a ARG, which was an alternative reality gaming, which is like offline and online. So you had programming that was actually living in websites and blog posts, but then we were actually having people show up to these old fangled things called payphones, which people don't even know what they were way back when. And we would actually send people to pick those up, and we would create this long, month-long game that they would have to follow this storyline based on the game, which we were doing it off of Halo. And then got to create 4 different games with Burger King for Xbox. And that was so much fun. So all of these things, and we come back to this kind of very simple but very powerful term, which is called storytelling. We were telling stories for these brands. So that was a lot of fun. And where I've gotten to in my career was basically that kind of evolution into running creative groups. And when you get to that point, you really get to a point of where you have to start sharing what your, for lack of a better term, your philosophy is around how we get to really good creative ideas. And when you have a team of 30 or 40 or larger people, and you're trying to bring everybody together in a way that everybody can kind of move in the right direction, there is a part of that of where you have to kind of figure it out for yourself, because a lot of that on how you get to where you get to, it can be very innate, and in some cases it's subconscious. It's just what you do. So picking apart your process can be a bit of a challenge, but I enjoyed thinking through it a few years ago and saying, okay, well, this would be something I'd really enjoy kind of sharing with other people. So I think one of those that kind of be how I got to this today was talking about that. And for me, it is all about curiosity. And I think everybody has a place in their life where they're curious about something. And it could be an individual thing, or it can be a topic, or what those things are. Well, I take that kind of passion and curiosity into what we're doing around a client's work. And it is something for me. I feel like I am innately curious. I feel like everything kind of has to have a meaning in some way, shape, or form. I don't think that just putting a color there or using a certain word because works very well. I think that that is something that you have to drive meaning out of what you're doing. And for me, that is what I do in my job, is driving that curiosity to drive meaning. Oh, why is this not going? Hold on. There we go. And creativity truly is exploration. Not only is it when you're a kid and you're walking around your neighborhood, or you're riding your bike, or you're playing with Legos, everything is about exploration. It's about working through those details to kind of get to that next level for yourself. And I feel like through, especially from when I was a little kid, even to now, that same way I approach things is there. I think when you're a kid, you always want to figure out each part so that you can kind of understand the whole. And I feel like I've gotten to that place now, especially working on things in the world of blockchain and NFTs. And this is the video that's running right now is a group right now that's doing everything it's a metaverse called Sandbox. And it's going to allow people to be able to create their own universes and have your own value proposition and currencies and all of those types of things. And I think it's just the next evolution of where we're going from where we have always been innately, of being very curious and wanting to explore. Very early on in my career, I think probably something that I learned, everybody always had this statement of saying, fake it to make it. So that was always a thing. And I think it still is for many people, that you have to constantly fake it to make it. That acknowledging or saying, I don't know, I'd love to learn more, is a bad thing. And I want to say to everyone, that is not the case. I would rather anybody on my team, no matter who it is, I would rather have them come to me and say, I don't understand, I'd like to know more, or I don't understand, and where can I figure this out? Because there isn't something to that to be said of somebody actually wanting to be motivated and do that. And that to me is more important than somebody who is spinning and stressing out, because that's just a lot of wasted time to get to a place of that can be productive. So more than anything in this process of creativity and getting to ideas, and especially in the space of where we are in marketing and advertising and getting to those ideas for clients, let's get there in the most productive way. And if you don't know the reason that you have people that are around you, and those can be your colleagues, those can be your boss, those can be mentors, ask them. Don't just spend a lot of time spinning, not knowing, and trying to fake it. And it doesn't really help you, and it doesn't help the project. So know that not knowing is okay. So this is something that I borrowed from a author named Thomas Friedman. And this is something that I truly believe in. And it's something that's not only driven me in my own career and how I hire people, and in a lot of cases, how now that I'm allowed to kind of look for the right clients. And this is a formula that he came up with. So it's the curious quotient with the passionate quotient is greater than IQ. And what is meant by that is it's great to be extremely intelligent, maybe even by a specific topic, or intelligent overall. You did the best on your SATs and you have this IQ, and that's wonderful. And I'm glad that there are people out there like that. But I will always take that person who is curious and passionate about a topic over a person that is just very intelligent. At the end of the day, the person who's going to drive real ideation and drive that program forward is the person that is not only curious in nature and passionate about what they're creating and what they want to do. And for me, that will always be what I'm always looking for, both in a colleague or a partner or with a person who's on my team. So some other things that I want to talk about that I feel like in our industry, we need a lot more of. And I feel like we will all not only get along better, we will create better programming, we will do all of these things better. And I want to kind of talk to you all about these, because I think that they are key to how we grow as not only as an industry in a positive way, but we also as humans, we do better things just for ourselves and our family and friends around us. So one of the key things for me is having gratitude. I have been lucky or blessed to have a really great family. And I have had really great friends that I have some friends I've had since second grade that have always been there and have always been very supportive. And in my career, I would say in almost all cases, I have had some great people who have helped me. And having gratitude to those people and allowing them to know what they've done for you is a way of, in reverse, giving really back to what you've been able to receive. And recently I was just on a phone with a person that over 17 years ago, he did a small thing. He saw an opportunity and he thought I'd be a great match for it. He picked up the phone and called me. I know that sounds like the smallest thing, and it doesn't really, but it changed the direction of where my career went in a huge way. And to me, I'm very grateful to him. And I've always shared that with people when I'm with him. And I was lucky enough to actually talk to him last week and share that again. He's like, you always thank me for this. And I think that that's a good thing to have gratitude, not only of what you've done and the people who have helped you get there, and then, kind of that just moves it forward. Humility. More than anything, and I will speak for my group on the creative side, there's not a lot of humility. And I think that there's a balance here. I think humility is good in the sense of what we need to share with our colleagues, what we need to do, and the humility will always be that, I guess, for a term, the proof is in the pudding. At the end of the day, it's not about being boisterous. It's not about having talking about all of your accolades. We all have won awards and doing all those things. At the end of the day, it's really about doing the great work and staying passionate about what we do. I kind of came into the creative world and the advertising marketing world from a different path. I was not a graphic designer, and I wasn't an educated copywriter, but I was a writer. And coming in that way and coming from a production background really grounded me. And I think that there is humility based upon, like, when I was on the production side of things, you knew you were doing a great job when it was quiet. So what I mean by that, if you weren't getting yelled at, then you were doing a great job. And that is a little bit different than some of the people in our industry that are constantly looking for accolades. And I would rather have the other side of this, of, people who really, I don't want you to be feeling like you're going to get yelled at, but really that you have that self-drive to do great work. And it doesn't have to be about the constant accolades or awards, because at the end of the day, we do our work because it's about doing great work. Confidence. So this actually goes hand in hand in a lot of ways with humility. Confidence, not ego. There is something that comes along with being curious and being an explorer when it comes naturally. It's gaining that knowledge. That knowledge in a lot of ways will give you that confidence. So they all kind of go hand in hand, which what drives that. But it is not about ego. It is not about that I can do something so much better than anybody else, and you have to be boisterous about it and talk about it. That's not what we do, or we should do, I should say. And it is about being authentic. Authenticity is key. Please come to the table or the room or to your agency or to the project as your authentic self. Everybody will respect that. Everybody will understand that. And going into it that way will always allow you not to have to be something that you're not. So please come in an authentic way to every project that you're doing, or every agency that you work on, or every team that you work on. And this is in a lot of ways, one of my biggest things from a creative perspective is keep it simple. I think there are, in our day and age right now, everything is about data and the next new thing and the next new, what people want to call trends. In a lot of cases, they are fads. And truly, what we do as marketers is we want to find those passions, just like we do with creativity, with what people have in their lives. And how do we tap into those passions and what they enjoy? That truly is our job. All the other things, everywhere from social media and websites and apps and all of those things, those are all tools. Those are still all tools of how we tap into that person's own curiosity and passion for things that they enjoy. And that doesn't just mean products. I believe some of my best work has been done for nonprofits and for organizations that I feel that I have a passion for, or a program that I really feel like needs to be something that I want to be able to promote and get people involved with. And one of those was actually working on the Affordable Care Act for the state of Illinois to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to get insurance. I think in so many ways, medical care is key to making sure that people stay healthy and happy. And we, as an agency at the time, we worked on this program, and we were one of the only states that actually did about 170% over what we were actually meant to do for that program. And my team and myself, we won 2 Emmy Awards for our work and what we did. So again, it's not just about selling flavored water and colored water. It's in a lot of cases, it's about actually working on things you really care about. So one of the things that I actually, with an artist friend of mine, his painter, we were talking about this, is I really want there to be more optimism, and not only in our industry, but really in our world, in our society, in a lot of ways. And I came up with a term of optimist, which is like mixing an artist and an optimist together. Because as creatives, as people who do creative work, we need to bring more optimism on what they do to that. And I think there has been a tendency to lean into something that can be very negative or something that's not very positive. And for me, I think it is, in a lot of cases, it's my job and my passion to be able to drive that optimism. And jokingly saying, it may cause side effects of hope, empathy, compassion, social justice, and better future. I think that no matter what, we have to always think about that first, going into the work that we do. And I feel like if we do that and continue to lean into that, we will hopefully see a shift that we will be able to have a better world and society. I think more than anything, we as an industry, as a advertising market industry, we have not only a responsibility, but we have a huge opportunity to be able to the people that lead that. So yes, we all need to make money, and I totally appreciate that. But at the end of the day, it's really about our society that we have in front of us now and the generations we have behind us. So that said, it is about curiosity and passion that gets us to those ideas to really make a difference. And I thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. I really hope that some of what I've said can have some meaning for any of you. And I think Dolly take some questions. If there are any questions, I have no idea, but I'm happy to do so.
Oh, okay. So I sent you something in the chat, but I can totally read it. How do you express your desire or passion for starting a project when you don't have a leadership position and you don't want to overstep any professional boundaries?
So first, I will say this. If you've established yourself in a way in that group, that team, that agency, that you're a person that will do the work and have the passion for the work that's already been established, that's already been put in front of you, whatever your job is. That as a foundation will be a great place to start. That said, and I will speak from experience, when that person delivers, when that person actually has that passion for the initial work and does that, when they come to me, especially a person who has run creative groups at agencies and been a part of very large agencies and small agencies, that's the first person that I'm going to listen to that wants to talk about a project. And within my power and resources, I will always help them. I think one of the things that I've always really wanted to lean in doing, and especially the teams that I've had, is I've always said, what are your outside passions? Or are there clients here that you want to work on? And let's figure out how we get you to there. But that comes already initially from a place of them being very passionate about the work that they're already doing. Does that make sense? Or was I really talking around that question?
No, it makes sense. I think it also just depends on the environment. I've worked in like a corporate job where every time I would suggest something, they didn't necessarily want to hear it. Maybe it was because I was one of the youngest people there, or they were used to doing something their way and they didn't want to change it, which I understand. So it was just finding that happy medium.
Yeah, happy medium. And sadly, there are people that if it's not their idea, I'm interesting enough. I have a friend who's working on a client right now that they heard early on that there were two other people at the company that they needed to tell about this so that those two people could tell the CEO so that it could be his idea when it finally came back. So I'm not saying we should manipulate anything, but truth be told, unfortunately, every environment, be it at an agency or with clients, there are ways that you have to kind of figure out. I hope you have opportunities to work with and work for people that are there to support what your passions are. And more than anything, at the end of the day, what I've realized is every time that I've been able to do that comes back 2 or 3-fold, because they are happy in what they're not only doing the work, but that at the same time, we're working on other projects that they're really excited about. And that can be even to the point of like, I'd really like to take a class in X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. And more than anything, I want to keep supporting people from an education standpoint, from a passion standpoint, from a hobby standpoint.
Got it. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Hi, thanks so much for this. Sorry that I came at the end. I had work stuff, but I'm wondering if you have, following up on that question Jennifer had, do you have any tips on how to get increased buy-in from someone when you have that new project idea?
So why don't you give me an example and then maybe I can help if you have one.
I don't have a concrete example that I know it's happened very much in the past in the workplace, but like you're coming in as a new person and, you know, you want to try something out. You might like have more familiarity with a certain community that's underrepresented, for instance, and you're working with mostly white people who don't know that community as well. But you don't want to come off as, you know, like condescending or not knowing your place. And also, you know, like you understand that you have a lot of learning to do, but you want to try something like you want to do Spanish. Actually, I do have an example. You want to do more like Spanish language translation. And I know that comes with budgetary things, but more like, or other, try another initiative that's geared towards a population that's not already part of the audience now. but that are definitely a part of the communities that we should be serving.
One of the things you answered, which sometimes as an agency, even as a client, you don't really have, you have a specific budget. So if they've gotten to a place and they don't quote unquote have the budget for, that makes sense. But let's get back to the question about and kind of what we were talking about before, which is having the passion for it. And I think in a lot of ways, if you can present that and say, hey, listen, this is an underserved community. You have done the research. In other words, you've explored what that is. If nothing else, if you have a good boss or superior, they're going to listen to you. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. Trust me, out of all the things I've pitched in all the companies I've worked at, I would even say that a lot of that doesn't come to fruition. But that being said, that doesn't mean that those people don't want to hear you. And if you bring it in a way that is from a base of experience and knowledge and passion, you will be, I promise you will be heard. And one thing I will say out here, and I think I said to Dolly before when we were talking about this, if any of you have life situations or things that come up and you want to actually call that are things that you're thinking about, I have no problem taking an email or a phone call to kind of help you through those things. Because if nothing else, going through this for now almost 27 years, there's a lot of experience and a lot of failure that I've had that I would rather have other people learn from those mistakes and those things that I've gone through so that you can actually be even more successful in your careers.
Thanks, Brett.
You're very welcome.
Hello, Brett. Can you hear me?
I can.
Hi, Brett. My name is Sandy Boyson. I'm a business school professor. And I really appreciate the way that you sort of laid out the etiquette for creatives. I really thought that was really appreciated. And your moral voice is really clear and distinctive. And I just want to thank you for that as well. Because I think that at least my experience is that I wish I would have heard this very early on in my career. Some of the things that you said about, humbleness and, humility and et cetera. The question I guess I have is, in the business school world, I've seen in the last 30 years how, knowledge is getting so segmented, so specialized. How do you help business executives? Because they're the ones who increasingly are moving in this direction as well. It's not just academics. How do you help executives with that kind of mindset to get into a more creative mindset, to jumpstart the creative process? What's your experience been with that?
I would say this, where we collectively, and myself and other agencies that I've been at, and especially right now, I'm with a group called Chameleon Collective, and it is a lot of very senior level people who have been at agencies for many years, and executives that we as entrepreneurs have all come together in this group and co-op. So we have our own clients. We also have a way that we work on projects together. And why I bring that up to your question, which is all of those people have such stress around what they have to hit. In most cases, it is based upon investors, sales,
right?
All of these numbers, that things at the end of the day, it's not what drives the consumer or the passion part of it at all. And I think in a lot of ways where I've seen success is to be able to take those people, be it a CEO or a CMO, heads of marketing, and those teams, to take a step back and find out what is the passion about that brand or that campaign that kind of drives that, so that they can participate in that process. Because a lot of it is you show up in the boardroom and they're like, show us the PowerPoint deck, show us the spreadsheet, right. Let's get out of the room. And I think if you don't have the opportunity to take a step back of why all of them are there, why we're all there, and also kind of in a way, like kind of put that jacket on and wear it and like, okay, well, we're all here to do that. And I've been lucky in my career to have a lot of great opportunities to work with a lot of great clients. And I would say there are 2/3 of those clients that were a struggle. Like truly, they were a struggle and it was hard. And I've learned from all of those experiences. And I would say probably if there is the best knowledge or advice, I would say that if you can get a client to take a step back and really get them to understand why they're passionate about their job, why they're passionate about the brand that they work at or the project that they're working on, you're going to have a much better time moving all of that work forward.
It's a really great point. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. Do you have any suggestions, Brett? Because you're obviously so passionate and you're passionate about people just expressing your passion. And, to help our initiatives, but also just to, to help us lead a more purposeful career in life. I'm wondering if you have any tips for if we are very passionate in the way that we express ourselves, like I have been in the past, and it's maybe been too much for people, like kind of how to navigate that authenticity and the passion while still, and harnessing that while still not letting it be too much for people, or like regulating it when it's too much for people, or like how to even gauge that.
Totally. It's a really good question. And something that I will tell you that I struggled with early on. I have to admit, I thought I knew everything in a lot of ways, especially when I was doing the work on the production side of things. I was, 3 or 4 months in, I've done it, I've got it, and I got on the production side of the music side of things. And I think there were a couple things that I got really great advice for. And I was with one of my friends who I'm very lucky to call friend and also mentor when I worked at one of these agencies on the production side. And he said, you have to walk in the shoes of those people before that you think you can put the shoes on, and it's an old adage. And but until you do that, it's very hard to think that I can do that person's job or do something better or different. And I don't mean that literally, but I think that it goes hand in hand with another thing, which is try to listen twice as much to how much that you talk. And I constantly, even today, have to remind myself of that. Listening is so great to take in that experience and to kind of know what those people are talking about, because I have that tendency to want to keep talking. I'm just a kind of talk with my hands, and I'm always a person that has to remind myself that I need to listen to hear from those people and take in that knowledge, because really that's what you're going to then bring back to them in a lot of ways of what you heard. And that's how you're going to be able to get your passion and about a project that you want to work on.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
That was terrific, Brett. That was really terrific, the insights that you gave us. I want to hear more. I want to hear more about exactly what you do, what's it like in the day of kind of thing, So I would absolutely take Brett up on his offer to continue asking questions, have a virtual cup of coffee with him, or, whatever that is, whatever works out. But please, if somebody is offering, I'd be jumping all over that. So Also, somebody had asked if there was going to be a recording. Answer is yes. We have all of our sessions on our website, onedayimmersion.com, under Media Mentors. And my gosh, they're terrific. They're so diverse as far, as far as topic, as far as presentation, as far as people and experiences. So feel free to check them out. We've tried to capture some some highlight bullet points, best advice kind of snippets in a smaller video clip, but the full sessions are there. Again, if there's anything that I can do for you, if you guys have any ideas that you want to share with the One Day Immersion team, any ideas about sessions or anything like that. If you have questions, I mean, I've been able to connect a few people with some of our board members who are incredibly prestigious people in the industry that they're offering their time also to be a mentor or to have that virtual cup of coffee. Send me a note at dolly@onedayimmersion.com and I'll help make that happen. Professor Boyson, if there's something that we can do together, maybe there's a presentation that I can offer for your class or classes, on the business side, we would love to do that too. So we're open to ideas and opportunities. We want to make sure that we are delivering the best and brightest in the industry in front of, leaders of tomorrow, which are you folks. So just let us know. But Brett, thank you. I'm going to do a little clappy clap here. Thank you so much. It was a terrific presentation, and I hope everyone has a good rest of the week. Stay safe and look for our next session in September.